Off top, Charlie, I got a question for you. What is the best thing to come out of the state of Virginia?
Peanuts?
Play the music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
All right,
What?
welcome to the Domonique Fox. That voice is Chris Long, the real best
Dude.
thing out of Virginia.
Allen Iverson?
No, I mean honestly,
Allen
peanuts
Iverson's
are good. Peanuts are good, but don't we have like Allen Iverson, Moses Malone, like freaking
The Clips.
LT
Oh,
Clips.
Clips is really
He just
good.
did Tiny Desk, and happy to see those guys back to work. So it's like there's a Missy Elliott, Timberland.
Yeah. You got a little something.
Who else, bro?
I was disappointed when I was looking. I'm in Houston right now, and so I was looking. You go to a new city, you try to figure out the restaurants. So like, what is Houston known for? Tex-Mex and like barbecue. So I was trying to think of what Virginia is known for food-wise, and the computer told me ham.
Ham is,
ham's good.
I'm not a regular eating
Yeah.
ham, but Sandra Bullock's from Virginia.
Oh. Sandy, that's that. I mean, you can't go from like Pharrell to Sandra Bullock. I feel like you're going back to the naked face. I miss your beard because your beard never would have said Sandra Bullock. Your beard would have always said Allen Iverson.
This is exactly how I looked when I saw her in A Time to Kill and Speed.
Oh
From her
gosh.
best performances.
All right, Charlie, where you want to start, buddy?
Okay, so we're going to format for today. We're going to go through some misconceptions ahead of the NFL season, some things that might be.
Oh, hold on. Time out. Before we do that, I guess we should make it clear that we're having Chris Long from the Green Light Podcast on. We're doing a joint episode, so we'll do half of it here with us. And if you don't already follow, listen, subscribe to Chris, you should do that so you can hear the second half, which I'm sure will be even better than this half. And when we do his half, we're gonna say that our half is better. So
We're gonna do the same thing. Yeah, we're gonna compliment each other's shows, and I appreciate this. This makes for an easy Sunday. I think both of us were like, we need an easy win. Let's do this.
That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. That was some top tier hosting, Dominique. Came out of nowhere.
yeah, I mean, Charlie had suckered me into. I've gotten really good at catching Charlie. Charlie is a world class troll, and I've gotten really good. It's been many weeks since he's tricked me into a bad, stupid fight where I'm defending myself against some nonsense. But he got me this morning. I had my niece around, my guard is down. I'm taking care of 4 kids, and he suckered me into an argument about LaMelo Ball's toes of all things.
Oh wait, is that whose toes that was?
Yeah, the Cheetos.
Oh, that is awful, dude.
Thank you, Chris.
That's not the point. That's not
Is it
the
the
point.
Cheetos? Is that's what was in the group text? Like things come in the group text that I'm just like I won't even ask. Like
These.
like there's some crazy online. Like this didn't even move me. I was like, this is weird. But the fact that it's somebody famous is
Yeah. It's LaMelo's toes. And Charlie and I have an argument going back many months now that we're arguing. We're talking about who's cool in the NBA. And I was saying, like, young people think LaMelo Ball is cool. It's like, it's not cool to us because I'm 42. Like, yeah, he's not cool to me. And Charlie believes that he is the arbiter of cool. And
No.
LaMelo Ball's not cool. So that's why he put it in there to demonstrate that LaMelo Ball's not cool.
Let's be very clear. Dominique thinks I can't criticize anyone for being not cool.
right. Yeah.
That's the root of the whole argument.
Can I tell you who seems cool? Jokic seems cool. Jokic to me, like they need to make a movie about him. Like the way he just when the season ends, he just gets right back home. He's at a horse race. He's on the river. He's like regular dude. He's hanging out with his buddies, drinking beer. I also like Wemby. Wemby was at like a monastery this offseason.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
We'll give Wemby some time, man, because he was doing too much this offseason. Like, I feel like coolness is a lot about authenticity and like unique. And some of the Wemby stuff feels contrived. It's like
I don't know, Dominique.
Okay.
Dominique, you
There's a
might
lot
be
of-
too old. You might be too
I
old
am
to
too
decide
old.
if he's
I am
cool
too
or
old.
not.
I'm too old. It's fine. Charlie, you of all people, you got 4 shirts in your whole life. You got 4 shirts and you rotate them and think you're going to confuse people. You can't tell anyone who's cool and not cool. Like, you're almost 40. You're not cool.
Hey, can I tell you something? I like the 4 shirt thing. Isn't it like Isn't it one of the? Was it the Apple guy?
Steve Jobs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs.
And he just wore the same thing every day, dude. I kind of decided that, like, who gives a anymore if I'm cool? Like, I'm at that point in my life, dude.
That's
Last
cool.
night I went out to dinner with my
That is
in-laws
cool.
at a nice restaurant. You know what I did? I threw on the ugliest shirt I could find just to make a statement that I'm not trying. And it felt great, and I might continue to do that.
Thank you.
Charlie just mad because I look great and everything. That's the problem. He's just
That-
jealous. You
I
will
mean,
wear
that
more
is-
stuff if you look good at all of it.
That absolutely, Chris. We were in New York, and Dominique tried to give me a makeover and buy some clothes that Dominique would have worn.
It was a fly floral jacket. That thing was fly. You would have killed. I guarantee you. Yeah, never mind.
What would they
on
think?
ESPN now, so I can't tell you what would have happened if you would have come home in that jacket.
Well, what do you think people would have thought he did for a living wearing a jacket like that? That's the better question.
They probably would have thought he was probably a pipe layer. I would think. He probably.
Oh yeah.
They would assume.
Yeah.
They would
Mason.
assume that man, that man can lay some pipe.
Hey, if he ever loses a like a bet or a fantasy league with you, you need to dress him for like a month.
The problem is he would love it. He would look great. People would compliment him. I would find some way to make it embarrassing. No, we'll do a fantasy league, and a loser has to get their toes tattooed with flames on them.
I don't like fantasy that much.
All right, Charlie, you can get back to the show. at this point.
All right. Back to the show. Okay, so NFL misconceptions. These are going to be things that have been floating around Twitter, blogs, websites, articles about the NFL that might be common knowledge, wisdom. I'm going to provide the context, the structure. You're going to tell me if it's a misconception or accurate. So the one I'm going to start with is probably one of the big stories of the offseason, which is the Bears have revamped everything around Caleb Williams. They brought in Ben Johnson to organize the offense. Luther Burden revamped the entire offensive line, spent a lot of money to bring in guys like Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson, who have succeeded with Ben Johnson and in other places around the league. And so the conventional wisdom right now is that Ben Johnson will immediately fix Caleb Williams. And I want to give you a little context for that, because that's creating a top 10 offense and eliminating some of the negative plays and the sacks and the ball padding and the seemingly flustered once the play breaks down type of stuff. Do you guys think that's a misconception or accurate?
And I lean towards accurate. It doesn't. Top 10 offense is like basically top third of the league. I think with the talent that they have, and of course the simplicity of what Ben Johnson wants to do, as long as he has the pieces. I know we focus on a lot of the talent that they had on the edges and Detroit, but like I think at the focal point we all know is that offensive line, an ability to run the ball in short passing game to playmakers. And I think you mentioned Luther Burden, who I think he's first round talent, and he's gonna make big plays for this offense. So I honestly I think the conventional wisdom is right.
First off, define immediately.
I mean, like first half of the season, we're not going to look up at Halloween and they're going to be 2-5, or we're going to be questioning like what's going on with this team.
No, I don't think it's a case where it's going to be like that. I do think the caveat that nothing's automatic in today's league with young quarterbacks and like the shortened runway we have in training camp now. And like, I think Ben's a dude, but he's working with a guy who's never played on time, right? This is the first time in Caleb's career that he's going to be really implored to play on time. I think he can do it. They don't have the stable of backs they had in Detroit to get the play action going, to keep people on their toes. They don't have a Penei Sewell who opens up things in the run game in a way that most teams can't. And then, you got to get him to buy and taking the profit. On the other side of things, I think the way that Ben's going to enjoy moving the pocket, he couldn't do it in Detroit, not in the same way. I mean, you can boot Jared out, but that sort of thing, once he gets his feet under him, being able to open up the offense that way, different areas off platform. And then that Loveland guy looks like he's going to be pretty damn good. So I'm bullish, even with all the caveats. Even being top 15 would be a fix, right? Top half of the league would be a fix. So it's not like they've got to be top 5 or 7th best offense in the league. Just get him to play on time.
I like the moving the pocket too. One of the things that I think we don't appreciate from moving the pocket and why it would help somebody like Caleb is it's an automatic clock for you. When you're in the back in the middle of the field, you feel like you can move around and create time. When the sideline's there and you're getting to the sideline, you got to get rid of it at some point. I think it forces him to make a quicker decision, rather tuck the ball or to get rid of it. So I think you're probably right. It'll be slower than we expect, but we have to, and obviously we could have been wrong, but let's remember that Ben Johnson did this with Jared Goff, was a guy who needed picks stapled to him in order to move him, and now he's getting a quarterback that just a year ago we all were like, oh, this is the best prospect to come in the league since whomever. You didn't say it.
No, no, but here's the thing. I didn't say it. I went the other way and said, hey, this exact thing. The way he plays, you know he's talented, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I'm excited. And by the way, I think for all the he got last year, I thought he handled himself like an adult in a lot of situations where things were not right? You know, and you know how it is when you're in a building when things are not right. I have no idea what it feels like to be a quarterback who's supposed to be able to pull the sword from the stone, so to speak, in Chicago. And they're running end-of-game scenarios the way they ran on Thanksgiving. That's the we see, right? So I think that there's going to be an opportunity just if things are normal for this guy to enjoy stability. And do I think he's Jaden Daniels? Like, not right now. I don't think at the end of this year he'll be Jaden Daniels, but I think what he can be is a really good quarterback.
Well, and to add on to that, he said that they didn't even tell him how to watch film, and he had no idea how to watch film last year at all. I mean, you're not buying that, Chris?
I don't know. I bet Fox, he might agree with me that, like, part of that's your responsibility, right? Like, but if you're a quarterback, I imagine there are nuances in how you break the game down. Like for an end, you don't have to. You just have to be willing to work, right? For a quarterback, there might be more nuance in like the ordering of how you go through. But did he expound on what he was talking about in that article?
He said they just gave him some film and said, watch it. Which, like, and that to me seems insane. I've never heard a quarterback.
That's bad.
Yeah, I've never heard a quarterback who wasn't like in there on the off day, who wasn't spending extra time with the coaches. Like, that was kind of the quarterback's thing, is we go in, we do extra work, we're always with the coaches. The idea that they were like, go find your own like tendencies, go find your own clues. Like, you can watch on your own and find it also, but we are bringing it to you. We want you to recognize that this is the guy that's going to tip the coverage. This is the guy that's going to tip the blitz. This is the guy that you can pick on. This is what they like on 3rd and long. I'm sure they did some of that stuff, but if they were just like, hey, we're not going to watch it with you at all. Like, I know all the vets were doing that. Like, rookies, not having no one there for a rookie seems incredibly insane to me.
I guess that's what it is. It seems so far-fetched that I'm kind of like, maybe he's putting a little extra dip on the chip. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not that bad as he's making it seem. But if he is just being given like a 100-play cut-up and he's like, they're like, go to town. Like, yeah, he was playing somewhere else, not in the NFL. That was not an NFL offense.
Yeah, and they changed coordinators on him twice in his rookie season while he didn't have anyone watching film with him. But I mean, for the record, I think this is interesting because these quotes and all that stuff is from Seth Wickersham's book, which is going to come out September 9th, which has the film details, the initially not wanting to play in Chicago details, and all that stuff. So I do think, like, whether it's or not, there's going to be added pressure because my guess is there's going to be a Caleb Williams full chapter in that book, about his journey to the NFL and how he wanted to choose his own destination.
When does that book drop?
September 9th, after week 1.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff in there. It's gonna make that. I mean, if he puts up 303 touchdowns week 1, then we're all laughing at the contents of the book.
Right, and Bears fans are always so chill, so it'll be fine, whatever it is in there.
All right, next one. This is one that I feel like we've been talking about this for 2 years, Domonique, which is Kansas City and whether or not they're going to return to like the exciting offense that they were initially with the Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek era, or if they're in a different stage, but they just keep on winning. Obviously, they're 15-2 last year. They got to the Super Bowl, and like our entire memory of that team, I feel like we had confirmation bias because we were watching them all year long, win close games, win one-score games they pulled out of their and then the Super Bowl, it all fell apart. But now you're looking forward. You're looking at the betting odds, and they are minus 120 to win the AFC West against the entire field. They are a 53% implied odds favorite to win their division. Does that make sense to you? That's conventional wisdom, but is KC being the definitive favorite in the AFC West, is that a misconception or accurate, Chris?
Well, it is one of those things where they've done this enough where people like me at times have questioned, like, can they do it another year? I feel like this team gets to be the favorite. Mm-hmm. Like, I know it's kind of a non-answer, but I feel like Do I think it's going to be difficult? Do I have question marks? Absolutely. But honestly, what it takes to win that division is beating them in close games, and nobody's done that. So it's not really a measure of how good the team, in Denver or in LA is. Like, they can be talented, they can re-up at certain positions, they can improve on defense. Like, Denver's defense is awesome. I love a good defense, and they match up in ways that are very specific to beating Kansas City, right? Like, and if Johnny Barron can come along, they become even harder to beat. And if Kansas City loses like Rashee Rice for some period of time because of a suspension or something, if Kansas City can't get the most out of the guys they're shuffling in, moving Suamateia inside to guard, how about that?
Well done. You know
with
who would have pronounced that right? The
who would've?
beard. The
Oh, yeah.
beard would have
Beard would definitely, yeah, Beard. So
Beard would have nailed that.
if Kansas City can, there's a lot that hinges on some of the things going on in Kansas City, but I do think Denver is probably the team that I trust the most, even though strangely, I don't mean in the division to challenge, Kansas City at all. Even though last year I think 10 wins, 8 of those wins were against losing teams. And win number 9 or win number 10 was Kansas City when they sat everybody. So they haven't proven it. The question is, what's it take to win the division? Do I think Kansas City is the favorite in the AFC? No. But in that division, you have to beat them in low-scoring games. I don't care how ugly it is. You have to beat them in low-scoring games. And other teams, even if they've closed the gap, have not figured out how to do that. Kansas City's been together so long, Fox, you know how this is. Teams are like, we've been here, and the way they've settled into playing post-Tyreek.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City, the late game stuff, it comes from them, I think, being comfortable with each other. Like, we talk about this sometimes on our show, is how that's what the experience together brings is, all right, this team is doing something that we saw back in 2001. So we already have the answer to it. I don't need a coach to sit down with a whiteboard and teach me how to beat the situation. And also, we see Mahomes and Kelsey where it's like they will solve problems in the course of one drive without even getting to the sideline. So that is their advantage. To your point, you're going to have to beat them in close games. And I would be comfortable probably saying that they would lose this division if they didn't also get better. I think everybody in the division got better, but I think the Chiefs got better too. And assuming they have some health luck with the receivers, at least one of their receivers can stick around. I know by the end of the year, it was like they obviously didn't have Rice. Hollywood was hurt, and they just had the rookie. Like, if they can keep someone else other than that available, but I think we really know what it comes down to is if Josh Simmons, the new tackle, and Jalen Moore, the tackle they signed from the 49ers, can protect Mahomes, like, nobody is messing with Mahomes if you can give him some time.
That's what it comes down to. Hey, the defense didn't play great down the stretch. They finished the season in a bad spot, but I trust Spags. I do. And but when it comes to that offensive line, like, that's it. If they have time, listen, I saw some figures. We had it in the doc about the way they weren't able to challenge single high coverage. You'd think Patrick Mahomes would be eating single high alive. Well, he's only human. And, when he's getting pressured at the rate he was getting pressured last year, the clock doesn't allow for it. And you don't get to see how Worthy can stretch the field. Because what we saw, like, honestly, they were killer on first and second down and getting to third and medium, getting to third and short. And when they get in third and short, like, you just feel like you can't match up with them over in the middle of the field. And seeing Worthy running crossers and, if you want to man these guys up, they're going to pick you. The screen game's always lethal. Like, they have ways they can beat you even if they're not talented. If he has time, they will be better, to your point. The only team to me that poses the biggest threat because of the way defense plays is Denver.
And so there's a really interesting point there because the stats on it in 2024, Mahomes under pressure on 34.5% of his dropbacks, which was 34 out of 39 passers. So, like, it was really bad.
It's bad.
But even on third and longs, they were abnormally good at converting third and longs. We went through that season last year being like, is this an aberration or is this a feature, or is this like a feature or bug type of thing? Because Mahomes and Kelsey had such good chemistry that we're like, this has to be a feature. He can get open sort of whenever he wants.
Sorry. You know what I think is interesting, and we had this conversation too about their big playability. That's the real question.
That's
for
where I
me.
was getting.
It's like,
That's where I was setting up with that.
oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
No, good. No, take the wheel.
And action. No, dude, I want you to do your thing. Do your thing. Charlie.
No, I was just gonna say it's like they were 8th in DVOA on offense last year, which in theory means that they're an elite unit, but we didn't feel that way because of their lack of explosive plays. And what I was gonna ask is if they're protected better, but their offense still feels stuck in the mud, where they're able to convert a lot of third downs because of Mahomes. Does that make them nearly as scary of a team, or do they need to sort of have that explosive threat again? And does that just get fixed by the tackles?
They can win. They can win without the explosive threat. In my opinion, like you got to have explosives, and I think like if you're protected, you're going to have more explosives, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the way they play, if they can play low possession ball games, it plays into the group that's been together a long time. Because you get late in the game, and you'll get like Houston will be in a big spot, and they're playing them tough, and they're right there. But like, can you make every possession count? Can you go the whole length of the field on defense, without some stupid happening? Can you do that offensively without some stupid happening? Houston, you saw them last year. I'm only thinking about them because they played them twice at the end of the year. They play them tight, and then they do some boneheaded offensively. Like Kansas City's just not going to do that. They might get beat up front, but they're not going to just waste it down because somebody's in the wrong spot on a bubble screen, right? So Kansas City makes the possessions important, and then other teams make the mistakes. You see it out of conference or out of division with, the Bengals had that dumb penalty early in the year.
Against Baltimore.
Baltimore played like the opener. Like, it happens in and out of division.
The funny thing about what you're saying is like I don't disagree with you. It's essentially like let's get to the end of the game. Let's get to the end of the game as close as possible. We'll out execute you. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like the best version of this Chiefs team is one where it's like the more possessions, the better. Like we're better. Normally a worse team is like, hey, let's slow this game down. Let's get to the end and be close and hope we get lucky. Yeah. It's a different, like, I don't think you're wrong. It's like, let's get to the end of the game so that it's a measure of who's more comfortable in these tight situations, which is one way to go about it because obviously the Chiefs are going to be more comfortable in most of those situations. But I like and I miss the version of the Chiefs that was like, hey, let's get as many possessions as possible because Patrick gonna throw 56 touchdowns this year. And I think that they should aim for that version because as much as we both like the defense, defense is fickle sometimes. It's hard to – they've had 2 great years, and I know they ended last year. Yeah. Tough on defense.
Yeah. Different team in the second half.
This is the point I think I'm trying to circle around is if their offense is the same as it was last year, then they lose the division. Like I don't think that they can do
maybe
that.
so. Maybe so. And to your point, like – You want the explosives. I just don't see, and you know better than me, like speed is not necessarily just speed. So like Worthy's fast as I've never seen. When he took that reverse, I think maybe like when he first touched the football, it was one of the most memorable moments of last season for me. I was like, whoa, like I was like, what was that running across the screen? Okay, but that doesn't mean he's going to be able to access areas of the field that maybe Tyreek Hill in his prime could. That doesn't mean that you got a prime Travis Kelce. You got still a very effective Travis Kelce, but he also plays possum, it seems like. And then late in the season, he turns it on, right? I don't know. I think something in between last year and that will play. And when they get in those spots where they're like, we're scoring 23 points and that's what it's going to take today. In those games, they're going to be better than most teams. But they are going to struggle when they get in these games. Like, listen, the Bills – if the Bills had anybody outside on defense, like I think they win that game last year. It's not taking anything away from the Chiefs. I'm just saying that's the way things go in the NFL. Like they were able to take advantage of a defense that was piss poor. What if that defense was average, and Josh is scoring 30 points in that game? Are they going to be able to shoot it out in the playoffs with teams?
I think it's going to be really interesting. I feel like it's been a story that's been going on for 3 years since the first time that there's actually like blood in the water with this Chiefs teams after the Super Bowl. Like their perception is very different than what it was going into that game where we just were like, no matter what, they'll figure it out. Another team that's sort of at a different point in their life cycle is the 49ers, where last year was everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for that team with injuries across the board and coming off a Super Bowl where it's just a devastating loss the way they lost. Well, looking at the odds for them this year, their over-under win total is 10.5. And the implication there, there is context for that. Christian McCaffrey's healthy, Brock Purdy's healthy, and they have the easiest schedule in the NFL. But the 49ers, what these odds are also saying is that they're way closer to the team they were 2 years ago than last year. Is that a misconception or accurate in your eyes?
I think that's a misconception. I think you're right about the schedule, and that might help out. You named the healthy players. You didn't name the fact that Ayuk still isn't practicing yet, and even when he comes back, like the ACL is normally, unless you're Adrian Peterson, ACL normally is going to take a little over a year for you to feel right. But I think what it comes down to is we talk about this 49ers team, and we always end up thinking about Shanahan and the offense, which deservedly so. But when they were at their best, it was that defensive line. And they've tried to replenish it with, Michael Williams and Alfred Collins to go up there next to Bosa. That's the question to me. If they can put together a defense, which is going to be based around Robert Saleh, which means the defensive front is going to have to win a lot. If they can do that, then they'll be back. But I mean, losing Greenlaw and Hargrave, and Travarius Ward, I think it's going to be harder for their defense to bounce back. So they could get 10 wins, but they aren't closer to those championship caliber teams to me.
Yeah, you said it, Fox. There's so many question marks for me. Like, do I have to respect the team? Absolutely. They built a lot programmatically over the years, and they've had some ups and downs, but right now they are replacing a ton on defense. And there's a lot of youth. And I know we just mentioned Williams, and Trent actually was speaking really highly of him, which is pretty good. When you get a vet that's talking good about a guy that he's seeing in practice every day, that's important, but the young guys inside got to play well. Can Huff be a reclamation project? Who's going to be the sub guy defensively with Warner? There's questions at linebacker. There's questions at safety. There's a lot that they've got to do, and we haven't even gotten the offense right, where we're kind of assuming a lot. We're assuming McCaffrey's healthy, which is not a safe assumption at this stage in his career. Now the Jordan Mason departure, depending on how you read the tea leaves, tells you maybe they feel good about his health this year. But that's a crapshoot, man. You never know. And when he leaves the game, what happens? Pearsall's looks like a good young player, but he hasn't proven it, and that's not been his fault entirely, obviously. And then you mentioned Ayuk coming off the injury. So I think the bones of a good offense schematically are always there with Shanahan, and the run game. It's probably a high floor kind of offense, but you got to think Purdy's special if you think they're going to be very, very good offensively this year.
Injury luck is always something that we talk about, but I don't know that it applies to the 49ers. I don't know if it's how they practice or how they play, but it don't seem like luck for them. It feels like every year their offense, somebody's going to miss 4 to 6.
Yeah.
A couple guys going to miss 4 to 6 games. So, if they're not deep, assuming Christian McCaffrey is at 100% for week 1, it's going to be hard to assume that a running back at his age with his injury history is going to play all season. And that, to me, that's the difference in their offense. He's the guy. We can figure out how to fudge around a lot of other guys in and out, and not having Debo. Debo would be the best replacement for Christian McCaffrey, probably. What he can do, the dynamism in the offense. So, it's really relying a lot on, is Christian McCaffrey healthy? Because him running a check down, it influences the defense. And so, that's I guess that's what it's banking on for me, is something that I can't really fully endorse, is the idea that a running back at this age with that injury history is going to make it through the season.
It's just so variable when you got that many young players, and I'm not one of these people that knows every player when they come out of the draft. And also it doesn't matter because we get so much wrong. So I kind of wait until I see them play in the NFL to see what they look like. And so Saleh's got his work cut out for him, and they weren't trending in the right direction last year.
It's really interesting because they're one of those teams too it's just like the Kansas City stuff that we talked about, where the numbers don't totally line up with them too. When you look back at that team, their 6-11 record, or their implied 6-11 record based on the stats, is that's not close to the fact that they were a top 10 offense before Brock Purdy's injury, and that was with no McCaffrey. That was with an incredibly banged up offense and defense. So I don't know. I feel like this is one of the teams I have less feel on going into the season than anyone else.
Trent Williams, his health always matters a lot. We don't talk about the how healthy the tackle can be. I spent a whole long time on Christian McCaffrey, but I think there was one point where the numbers for Trent's on and off numbers
were crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
His was like it was so hard to parse with McCaffrey, but it was basically if either of them were off the field, they're considerably worse. If both of them were off the field, the team was completely different, which I guess makes sense when it's first ballot Hall of Fame left tackle and Christian McCaffrey.
I think as good as McCaffrey is, like a running back, is a little bit more. No, I don't want the word replaceable is a terrible thing to even say about Christian McCaffrey, but I'm talking about when Trent leaves the game, like you got to look around the league for a while. You know what I mean? Like
it's crazy. It's crazy.
But when Christian leaves the game, like, hey, Jordan Mason looked pretty damn good. I'm not saying
Isaac Guerendo,
Christian McCaffrey, Guerendo, who's a straight line guy, but like looked pretty good and could be productive for them. So that system is really back friendly. And McCaffrey's great. So at their best, they've been incredible.
And I think with both players, the funny thing is with both players, there are some plays that you have to take out of the playbook if they're not in the game, which is something you rarely have to say for a tackle. But there's a whole section of the protection that we're like, nah,
we can't do that.
Nah, we can't do that. Like we have we're running 4-man routes from here on out, and we always slide left, which changes everything that you do. Which I think, to your point, Christian, we can fudge around with some of these. With the pass catching opportunities with substitution and stuff, and other guys can make big runs. But if you lose that left tackle in that situation, then it changes everything.
Okay, next one. This one I think is actually so fascinating. It's we're talking Vikings here because this is a team that I think we all fawned over their defensive versatility, the way they use simulated pressures, the way they blitz, and how effective they were last year with Sam Darnold at quarterback. And they have Kevin O'Connell, who's one of the best offensive minds in the league and seems to support the quarterback position as well as anyone. Their offensive line should be considerably improved with Darisaw back. But the question here is JJ McCarthy. And we've gotten two sides of this where the coaches have raved about how good he's looked so far over the summer and in camp. And then we have quotes from Justin Jefferson who are like, we need to make sure that we need to treat him like a rookie. It's not Sam yet. It's not what it was. And this is interesting because they won 14 games. They faced the fourth toughest schedule in the NFL, and their over-unders at 8.5 wins. And so the question I have is this a misconception that the Vikings need JJ McCarthy to be good immediately? Just with where they're at in their window, how tough that division is, and where they're at with that roster.
Yeah, I think you do. The way that's framed is like, do you need him from an optics standpoint, a program building standpoint? Do you need to be good? Like, we don't have any time. It's the NFL. And also we just said, hey, Sam, like we had a high floor. Well, I can't really say that floor that you saw in the LA playoff game is indicative of who Sam is. Like almost any quarterback would have sucked that bad. However, I do think McCarthy's got a higher ceiling, it seems like, with what we know from Sam. And I got respect for Sam, but McCarthy, the way they talk about him, and looking at the decision that they made, right? Like, it is time. And so while I don't think you're expecting to come out the first month and be great, Kevin O'Connell has done a great job weathering the storm with whoever's played quarterback over the past couple of years. Like, they've been competitive. They won with Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, like, landed at the airport and, like, came to the field, and they were teaching him the cadences on the sideline. I've seen them win with a host of other guys, and last year and made Sam Darnold money this year. I'm not saying Sam didn't do it himself, but you got to be in the right situation. So I think JJ, with the little we saw of him, I was really excited about him. I thought they asked him to do a lot in the preseason before he got hurt, even in that little short window we saw him play. This is a good football team, man. The defense is going to be disruptive. They're going to be fun. You mentioned all the things they do. And I love their edge rushers. Just as an aside, I think those two guys are pretty damn good.
I love those guys too, and I think I'm glad you teed me up to go into the defense because I think that matters a lot for how good this team is going to be. Like the turnovers that they created last year, the short field, and the havoc, frankly, they created for opposing offenses is always something that makes life easier on your own offense. If you're not down by a couple of scores, you got pass and run option. It opens things up, especially for the type of things that O'Connell is doing. But I do have a little bit of concern about the defense because they lost Stephon Gilmore. And I think to the point that we were making a second ago about you have to take some plays out of your offensive playbook if you don't have Trent Williams out there. I think the same thing is true if you don't have a corner that you trust in man coverage. Because what the Vikings were doing a lot with those sims is like they would show something that looked like zero and sometimes play zero, and then sometimes they play a cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4 behind it. If you can never truly threaten that you're going to play zero, then no one's going to respect the rest of the sims. And that's, I mean, one of the best things about football is that it's all interconnected, and there's one thing broken over here, and that means that something else looks entirely different on the other side of the ball. So I know we're a far cry from talking about the quarterback position, but I do think the cornerback position is going to impact how aggressive the defense can be, which will also impact how aggressive McCarthy is going to have to be. And I mean, they need Darashaw back healthy and active. Since we're talking about O-line, he's one of the best in football, and that changes the way they look. Listen,
you make a great point. It's, we all rant and rave about how cool it looks to see them mugged up and get to like Tampa 2, and Metellus is 30 yards deep at the snap of the ball, and Cashman and those guys, but like you can never get in those looks and really scare people into double clutching, because if you can't man up, you can't man up, and that affects the rushers too.
What you're saying there, so this is great. This is the reason why we should do these things more together, because it just builds on each other. Because your point, to make it more clear, what you're saying is, if we're going to get up in the mug look and still play cover 2 from that, like why wouldn't everyone do that? Like the reason why you don't want to do that is because you're out of position. It's harder to get to a deep half if you're starting at 8 yards off the line of scrimmage, showing a cover 0. It's harder to get to your hook or your deep middle as a linebacker if you're on the line of scrimmage. The reason why you can do it is because they're like, oh, they might actually blitz us. So we're going to keep some guys in. We're going to hesitate, and that makes it less pressure on the defensive backs to get to where they're going. We're going to laugh at your face if you're up there showing a mug look and we know that you can't trust your corner to play in man coverage. And we're going to go ahead and let 5 out and watch all of your linebackers and defensive backs scramble to get to a position because they don't trust. And then you're going to have to take that out of your playbook altogether. You're going to stop mugging. You're going to stop pretending like you cover 0. So one little piece can break it all down. And then we're up by 14 because you can't mug anymore. You can't run sims. And now McCarthy can't run the ball anymore. And he's doing straight dropbacks from the second quarter on. His numbers look like and we're like, hey, that guy's a bust. This stuff is all connected.
It's all
got
connected.
Me going. It's football season. I'm excited. Hit somebody, Charlie. This is Chris and I don't got no hits left. We all hit.
No, dude.
My son does. He's gonna start playing tackle for the first time, and he started trying to get off of my blocks that I'm like not blocking you, but he runs up to me like I'm blocking him, and then starts doing chops. So I started to teach him, like, you got to get full extension, get your arms inside. He does this outside. I was like, you giving up chest. You get your arms inside, shoot them out, little headbutt, shoot them out, pull them through.
There's a drill for it. You know the weight room bands, the little like VMO bands. You put them on your wrists, and we used to do it in D-line where you actually like you had to go through individual, and what that does is going to keep your wrists like max a foot wide. So you're always going to be inside. And what you're talking about is that's D-line 101. So
he keeps doing this, and
send him to see me, man. I got him, bro. Like my hands are always in the right place. That's one thing.
One thing we're not gonna do is have no D linemen in this household. Like I'm not built for that. I'm not built for that.
Here's what a D lineman's son is up to right now. My son's 9. He's getting a real attitude. We play FIFA a lot, and he scored like 9 minutes into the game, which is pretty fast the other day. And he turns to me and goes, "Maybe enough video games for you, huh, Dad?" And he goes, "Should I put you to bed soon?" I said, "Damn, he's getting bold, man." So yeah, I got another problem on my hands, dude.
My son's been a trash talker since day one, and it's different when it's your son. It's really cool and funny when it's someone else's son. When it's your son that's trying to start the fights at all the flag football games and popping to everybody all the time, like, stop it.
It's gonna get you dragged into a fight with another parent.
It absolutely is at some point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I encourage it all from afar with no kids.
I don't want to see you in a fight, Tom. No,
I'm not.
No fights. No use sports fights.
I just spend most of my time apologizing to other people's other kids' parents. Like, hey, I'm sorry about that.
He didn't learn that here. He didn't.
Chris, last year I asked Domonique if Declan, his son, was doing backflips yet as a celebration, And Dominique's like, no, he's not going to do that. And then I get a call from Dominique at like 9:30 at night on a Wednesday, and was like, you're not going to believe it. Declan's on a gymnastics mat trying to do backflips because we have a flag football tournament this weekend.
Oh, that's good.
He got a pick in the flag football tournament, and there happened to be a camera like from the tournament there, and he caught the interception, took it back to the crib, spiked the ball, turned around and found the camera and pointed at it. And then, so they took the video and put it online, and we showed it to him. And the man criticized. He was like, I didn't fully extend on the point. I should have. He said it didn't look confident enough. So that's what you got. That's what you got for you. My son is 12 now, so
Yeah, I'm at
think your
9.
9-year-old's on that
starting
path.
to happen. Yeah, so I know what's happening in the future. Jeez, Louise, but my kid's not gonna be able to do a backflip. There ain't no way.
The DB energy is just so strong with that.
Strong DB energy, bro.
Oh God.
All right, so the last one, we got one more here, and this one, it's a little bit trolly, but I do find the counter argument to this one the most interesting. So last year, we all thought that Houston was a potential threat to win the AFC. We were really high on them. It's because CJ Stroud as a rookie looked like he was doing some really PhD level quarterbacking stuff. It didn't happen last year for reasons that aren't just CJ Stroud. The offense was really in mud with Bobby Slowick, and they're running the ball really early in their drives on first and second down really consistently. Well, on the other side of that, Bryce Young had a really explosive end of the year after he was written off as someone who might not be an NFL quarterback. Coming into this year, is it a misconception that CJ Stroud is going to have the best season of any quarterback from his draft class? Dominique.
No, I mean you just want to talk about CJ Stroud. I
Bryce
don't know,
Young.
maybe,
I just shoehorned it in to talk about CJ Stroud and Bryce Young.
Maybe Chris feels differently, but I think CJ Stroud is still the best. I mean, Anthony Richardson, if he can stay healthy and consistently do the amazing things, there's a conversation. But I think that Bryce Young hasn't done enough, I think, to overtake CJ Stroud. And even though I think we probably overreacted to CJ Stroud's rookie season, I think we also overreacted to his last season and blaming him. So I think CJ Stroud is going to be a top of the league quarterback. You can watch. We just came off talking about the Vikings game. I remember watching that game immediately after it happened and being surprised because I thought CJ Stroud played terribly. He didn't play great. The numbers were awful, but I could see that they didn't have answers. And that's they didn't have answers for the simulated pressures. And CJ Stroud, you could tell that he was recognizing what was going on, but he couldn't do anything with it. So he seems smart enough, obviously, to handle the things that are going on. And he has the arm strength and the size and the athleticism to do everything else. I have no reason to believe that Bryce Young is going to overtake CJ Stroud this coming season.
No, I'm into the Texans, man. I understand they've got offensive line questions. I do, but I also think last year it couldn't be worse. I know that you look at the sheet of paper and you're like, well, they look pretty bad on paper. Well, they looked pretty good on paper last year. They didn't look like what they ended up being. And what you realize is a lot of times offensive line plays is dictated by the scheme, how they're coached, how the protections are being coached. They miss more free runners than anybody in the league. You alluded to how they played against the Vikings. They were terrible against the Packers. Late in the season, you could start to see the frustration compound for CJ Stroud. When one of your offensive tackles picks the ball up, fumbled in a big game and starts to lateral it backwards, that was the moment for me where I was like, and Stroud is such an adult, but I was like, my man is just tired of this, and he's only a second-year player. When the second-year player seems to be the guy who's the most mature, and he's dealing with this stuff up front, I think they're going to be better there. Mixon's health worries me. Obviously, you got to run the football, but the defense, man. The defense, if you can just stop the bleeding offensively, I actually was impressed with the resolve the team showed late in the season. I was so impressed. I wanted them to take that third quarter drive that they had against Kansas City where they took the ball and had it the whole quarter. And I was like, take a snapshot of this. Because it's not always going to be high-flying and explosive, but you got a pro quarterback who I think is very good. If you can run the football,
Collins.
And you got Nico Collins, if you can control clock and play defense, this team is built to contend. I'm talking about contend this year. I'm not saying win the whole thing, but contend in the AFC.
They got some cornerstones on defense with, Hunter and Anderson are great pieces, and then Stingley and Lassiter, that's the corners and the ends. You can do. I feel like we kind of evolved into a bit of the theme of this show about how all this stuff is interconnected and how offenses and defenses are limited by where there may be holes. This team on defense has the ability to do a bunch of different things. They added CJ Gardner-Johnson as if they didn't already have that energy with Al-Shaair over there at linebacker. Al-Shaair and Gardner-Johnson in the middle of the field, bringing that same energy that the coach infused the team with Hunter and Anderson, Lassiter and Stingley. Like, this defense is going to keep things close and going to create some short field opportunities for this offense. I think you're right. They should be a team in the AFC that we respect. And then the division is one that, it's not going to kill them,
man. They didn't play a complete game last year.
Yeah,
they struggled out of the half. I think so much of this is going to be, it's going to be refreshing to see what stopping the bleeding is going to do for this offense. Not to use the phrase again, but that's what it is to me. It was like it was chaos last year. And so if you can just even average scheme, and you get a grace period with a new coordinator, right? Like, if they're onto something, it might look more like Slowick's first year when we thought, damn, he's really onto something. Well, year 2, they weren't onto anything, and it's time for a reset.
All right. As we told you, that was my part of the show. I feel like we got warmed up, and even though I was gonna say this year that the green light part was better, I think it actually is gonna be better.
Even though I said it, I think it is.
Yeah, I didn't mean it. I said it. It was like, nah, my gonna be better, but I actually think it's gonna be better. So I appreciate you for doing this with us. Thanks to all our great producers. Charlie, I appreciate you. We out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.